We're back out at the Big Lake, and today we're talking about how everyone knows that budget and cheap lures are absolute garbage 100% of the time, right? Well, not so fast. We're going to talk all about that. Stick around. Oh, there I got him. Oh, he came up for it right there. He came up for it right there. I saw him come out of the depths and get it. And that's another good one. And here is this video's featured comment. Congratulations! If you would like to have a chance to have your comment featured in an upcoming video, all you've got to do is leave a comment. And now, on with the video. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing, and I think we can all agree that when it comes to using cheaper baits and lures, well, there's a bit of a stigma attached to that, right? That if you are using those types of baits and presentations, that you are on the lower end of the fishing spectrum, that you really don't have a lot of skill. Because if you were actually a good angler, if you were a proficient angler, why, you would know to spend your hard-earned money on the absolute best of the best. You would spend your cash on the best baits and lures that money can buy. Case in point, this guy right here. This is a 6th Sense Quake 70, and it is a great lipless crankbait. I have several of these. They move well in the water. They've got a good dying flutter action on them on the fall. They've got great hardware, and as you can see, they've got really cool colors. But these things cost about $10 a piece. So as far as lipless cranks go, they're on the higher end of the spectrum. They are on the more expensive side. And, there's nothing wrong with that per se. But I don't buy those baits because they are expensive. I don't buy them because they are the best of the best or whatever. I buy them because I can use them to catch fish. That is my sole reasoning. So whenever I'm going to buy any type of bait, it does not matter what that bait is. Something even in the mid-tier range, like this Strike King Red Eye Shad. Probably one of the most famous types of lipless crankbaits and one of the most copied types of lipless cranks there are on the planet. The Red Eye Shad is a great lipless crank, and they clock in between $5 and $6 depending on what color you get and where you buy them at. I love this sexy shad color. This thing is very productive for me. It's got great hooks on it. It's got great hardware on it. And most importantly of all, as I just got done saying, the reason why I buy them is because they catch fish. So that's why whenever I'm going out to buy a bait, effectiveness, not cost, is my number one concern. Now, if I can do that on the cheap, you can bet I'm going to do it on the cheap, because I would rather spend less and have an effective bait than just buying an expensive bait for the sake of buying an expensive bait. When it comes to fishing, bragging rights is about the fish you catch, not the lures you buy. Case in point, well, this guy right here. This is an H2O Express lipless crankbait, and this thing's caught me plenty of fish. The hooks on it are nice and sharp and sticky. The hardware on it is great. I don't have any problems with it, and that gets us to the point of, well, if you're going to buy cheap baits like that, first thing you're going to have to do is get you some Gamakatsus or some Hayabusas or some Fusion hooks and change those hooks out. No, I am not changing the hooks out when the hooks on this thing are perfectly good. If you're missing fish, the hooks are not your problem. Your hook sets are your problem. We've discussed that before. If you are missing fish, sharper hooks are not going to help you. And you're defeating the purpose of buying a budget bait if you're going to buy a $3 lure and then spend $10 for a pack of high dollar hooks. So, and these right here, these hooks are plenty sticky. And I've had this bait for, I don't know, a couple of years now, and you can see those hooks are not bent out. I've caught, I don't know how many fish I've caught with this, but it's been a lot because I really like this thing in cloudy water and on cloudy days. So, I get that little bit of flash in there. But the point is, it's not about bragging rights for your tackle and your gear. It's about bragging rights for the fish that you catch, right? We don't care who's got the most expensive gear. That's why I don't fish Megabass gear. I don't fish Megabass jerkbaits because they're too expensive. I'm not paying $25 for a jerkbait when I can spend $8 on a jerkbait and catch fish. If I wasn't catching fish, if I didn't think that I would be spending $8 and catching fish, well, then that would be a waste. I would have to spend more, right? We would think that. But if I'm spending $8 for a Yo-Zuri jerkbait and I'm catching a lot of fish, well, I don't need to spend anything more than that. I go with what works, and that's what I need to do. And then we've got, at the very, very low end, we've got this. This is an Ozark Trails lipless crank, and it's a blatant ripoff, a blatant copy of a Strike King Red Eye Shad. We've said that before. But they clock in at just over $2. They come with Eagle Claw hardware, so it's a brand name that I've heard of. And like I said, I'm not changing the hooks out on these, and I've caught, I don't know how many fish I've caught in this thing, but this thing's pretty eat up, and it works. It works as is. I can tie this on, I can throw it in the water, and I can hook into a fish and reliably and comfortably know I can bring that thing to the boat and it won't hop off. So if I can spend $2 and I can catch fish, why would I spend $10, $12, $15 for something that this does the same thing for? So like I said, to me, that whole stigma about buying cheap baits, I really don't understand that. And that can even extend inside of a particular brand, right? Everybody loves to fish a Jackhammer chatterbait by Z-Man, but these right here, these regular $5 chatterbaits that you can get anywhere, I've caught more fish on these than I ever have a jackhammer. These things work great. So what incentive do I have to buy a jackhammer when I know I can throw this and catch fish reliably and effectively? And as far as the trailer that's on there, that is just a cream fluke style soft plastic jerkbait. And those, you know, I can pick those up all day long. Again, in Walmart, I can get these for $1.25 a pack. So if I can get $1.25 and pay that for these soft plastic jerk baits and I can catch fish with them, why am I going to pay more? Give me a reason to have to pay more when these work. Now, do these work in every situation, every circumstance? No, they are a bit stiff. So if I'm running a weightless fluke style bait, or if I'm Texas rigging one or something like that, I have used these before and caught fish, but for the most time, I prefer to use something like a Strike King caffeine shad, which has got a softer tail. But as far as just doing a trailer for a chatterbait or a vibrating or bladed jig, man, these things are amazing. That harder plastic, that stiffer tail actually seems to work better. I get better hunting action. I get better, crazier, erratic action under the water. And, you know, I'm telling you what, I really do feel like I'm catching more fish when I do that. I wonder what happened if I tied on that deep dive and... Oh, there, I got him. Oh, he came up for it right there. He came up for it right there. I saw him come out of the depths and get it. And that's another good one. That's another good one. That's a real good one. You may be the biggest one of the day, buddy. You may be the... Ooh, I got you right through the nostril. That's a solid 2.5 pounder. That's another beautiful little bass. Beautiful little fish. Thank you so much for playing. We really appreciate it. There it goes. You know, and lastly, you know, we talked about it just a few minutes ago. We touched on it about Megabass jerkbaits. And I know there's guys who would swear by them. A Megabass Vision 110 or 110 plus one. Best jerkbaits on the planet, right? These are the guys who originally invented it, blah, 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 whatever. You know what? This thing right here, I probably caught over 100 fish with this thing. And this, again, is an H2O Express. If I can get it off of there. This, again, is an H2O Express jerkbait. It's a sexy shad color. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of these H2O Express jerkbaits. I have caught countless fish on them. This one and another one, the ghost shad color that I have, and I had a chrome one, but I lost it. If I can ever find that one, I will replace it. But I do have several of these, and they clock in at about $6 a pop. So if I can catch fish with that without making any changes to it at all, no split ring changes, no hook changes, no, anything, if I can take it out of the package, tie it on, and fish it for $6 and reliably and consistently catch fish over and over and over again and not lose them and not bend out hooks, why would I spend $25 for a jerkbait? That to me doesn't make any sense. But again, like I said, you've got guys that are tackle junkies, as it were. That's what they like to do. Tackle is their passion. Tackle is a fuel source for them. It's what drives them, sometimes even more so than fishing. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm a tackle junkie too. I have way more tackle than I will ever use. But when it comes to actual practical fishing, well, I try to save as much money as I can because, like I said before, I'm not Elon Musk. I don't have Elon Musk's bank account. I don't have his credit cards. I don't even have his phone number, right? And if I, left a tweet for him, he probably wouldn't even respond to it. He wouldn't even know who I am. So we're sticking to the $6 baits in the meantime. And I just don't see where I would change that. I'm a frugal kind of guy. I've always been a frugal kind of guy. So if there is a stigma that's associated with using cheaper types of baits, well, then that's fine. Because when it comes to fishing out on the water, I know that I can hold my own. I know that I have no problem catching fish, and I know that I can productively do it time and time again. So like I said a million times before, technique over tackle. We've said it and we've said it again. Technique over tackle. If you are missing fish and you can't get a bite, a lot of times it's not your tackle, it's your technique. And that's what you need to work on most. So there you have it. There should not be a stigma associated with fishing cheap baits and lures. If you can spend less money and consistently go out on the water and time again catch fish and be able to bring them back to the boat without having any problems at all, well, in my book, that's the smart way to play it. Again, as we've said before, if you are having a hard time bringing those fish to the boat or even getting bites in general, it's not the fact that you're using cheap baits or expensive baits, it's your technique. And that's the part that we need to work on. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.